Can everyone see it?
Yes, we can see that.
Cool.
Awesome.
So, hello everyone. My name is Jindan Huang. I'm a second-year PhD student at Tufts University, and I'm working in the ABLE lab directed by Dr. Elaine Schott. And so today I'm very glad to talk about my work modeling human feedback behavior for interactive reinforcement learning. So reinforcement learning is a very powerful and commonly used technique for robot learning. Its core mechanism is to use reward to either encourage desirable action or discourage undesirable action provided by a learning agent. For traditional RL, I think the learning agent observes the environment and then takes action based on the observations. The agent then gets a reward from the learning environment based on the taken action, and then use this reward to know whether its action is good or bad, and then update its learning model. So after many cycles, the agent will learn better and better. Traditional RL doesn't involve human-centered design thinking. However, interactive RL incorporates human perspective, and it enables agents to learn from both environmental rewards and feedback from a human teacher. So the external information source from a human could significantly improve and accelerate learning. And interactive agent can get evaluated feedback from either a real human or a simulated oracle. A simulated oracle is usually a fully trained model, knows everything about the learning task, and therefore can be used to evaluate the agent's performance. It enables quick iteration in the early development stage of an algorithm. So training with a real human is very beneficial for real world problems, but it has some drawbacks, like it will lead to a longer development cycle because adding actual participants during the algorithm development process is actually directly related to time and logistics. And inexperience with human experiments can amplify these barriers. And also this method adds more cost in the recruitment process. If you're learning with a simulated oracle, it can save you some time, money, and some effort. However, it has less user involvement in the development cycle. That means when you test your algorithm on the real life scenarios, the performance of the algorithm will probably be not good as you expected. Also, many simulated oracles are defined as perfect oracles. That means these oracles are assumed to be able to know and provide accurate and immediate feedback to a learning agent. However, in real cases, when a human teacher provides feedback to a robot, his behavior is not that perfect. So human teacher could respond to a learning agent in a delayed, stochastic, and unreliable way. And they could also give different feedback in response to the same thing because of their unique personalities, preferences, and experience. So in order to solve above mentioned problems, our idea is to create human-like oracles for interactive reinforcement learning agents. And these oracles can provide feedback to the learning agent in different ways that match people's different feedback behavior. And human-like oracles keeps the strengths of simulated oracle, which can save time and get an idea of potential results with human users. And in the meanwhile, they can also consider what feature make real human feedback different from a simulated one. So how to generate a human-like oracle? First, we need to know how human feedback varies among individuals. And second, we have to understand what factors can cause human feedback discrepancy. So here, participatory design is a powerful tool to tackle our research problem. So it incorporates user directly into the technology development process, and it puts an emphasis on integrating researchers' viewpoints with users' perspective. And we propose a participatory design method consisting of 2 one-on-one workshops, a human feedback collection session, and a post-study interview. So the persona development workshop is to create teacher personas And feedback model design workshop is to collect specific value of feedback attributes from participants. And these values could represent their feedback behaviors. And post-study interview is to like have a discussion or reflection with participants so that we can figure out how real like human feedback differs from their self-reported feedback pattern. And I will talk about the first two workshop part in detail. In the persona development workshop, a participant will work with a researcher to generate a teacher persona. And teacher persona is a collection of human characteristics and possible factors that might cause feedback discrepancy. And we think the teacher persona should include at least the information from 4 aspects: demographics, personality, teaching experience, and technology experience. And these variables are found to be very influential when interacting with robots. And they are also closely related to evaluating of human learning performance, a robot learning performance. And of course, it's not a finite set, and other items, for example, like physical or mental states, are optional to include depending on your specific research need. And for the feedback model design workshop is to understand how different people give feedback to a learning agent. And first, we need to build a basic structure of feedback model. And we identify 5 major attributes that can demonstrate feedback discrepancy. And these attributes are chosen based on existing literature and our intuition. Also, they can be easily defined as a numerical or categorical form. So the delay is the time that the human teacher takes to react to a robot's action. And frequency is how often the teacher gives feedback to a robot learner. And motivation tells whether feedback focuses on positive reinforcement or punishment. For example, assuming the feedback is in a form of a binary form, which is either positive or negative. If the motivation focuses on punishment, and that means a human teacher would give feedback when a robot learner makes a mistake. And bias tells us whether the feedback is more positive or negative. It reflects human preferences in teaching styles or their attitude to a robot learner. The last one is error. So people will make mistakes when evaluating robot performance. For example, assuming there are 2 solutions for a learning task, but the human teacher only recognizes one of them. If the robot performs the solution that the person doesn't know, and he will probably think the robot is doing something wrong and make a incorrect feedback to the robot. So based on the model we just mentioned, we are able to capture people's different feedback behavior. And in the workshop, we will provide participants with an interactive RL platform. It includes an agent learning environment, and a simulated oracle can give feedback to the learning agent. Participants can see how the simulated oracle responds to the agent. And we also have an interface which contains many UI controllers for participants to interact. And those UI controls allow participants to directly change feedback model parameters. And by adjusting those controls, participants can modify oracle's feedback to match their own feedback behavior. From an analytical perspective, our method can provide many useful insights. So we have subjective data from teacher persona and feedback model. We also have objective data from real human feedback and from a post-study interview. So if we view the data we collected from 2 design workshops together, we can explore whether there is a relationship between human characteristics and their teaching or feedback behavior. And if we ask participants some follow-up questions related to their persona feedback model or their real feedback in the post-study interview, we could probably get a better understanding of how their unique characteristics influence their actual teaching, and to understand difference of their real feedback behavior and their self-reported feedback pattern. We are also able to compare the underfly feedback data with their self-reported feedback model to see the reliability of our feedback model. Also, by using the feedback model we collected from participants, we are able to modify a perfect oracle. And then we can use our modified oracle to test an interactive RL algorithm. We are able to investigate the effects of different oracle on the algorithm, for example, by evaluating the learning speed and the performance. And for example, one modified oracle represent one type of user, and we will probably find, oh, the agent trained with a specific oracle has relatively slow learning speed, and realize some improvements could be done to make the algorithm work better for that type of user. To summarize, our work introduced a very novel application of participatory design technique in computational HRI field. We construct human models with participants, and it involves more user perspective in the early stage of algorithm development process. And we can also have a better understanding of human feedback behavior, for example, the relationship of persons' unique characteristics and their teaching styles. For other researchers, human-like oracles can provide multiple functions, and it enables more robust development of interactive RL algorithm. It can allow a learning agent to find a policy that better represent a real human strategy, and also it brings new opportunity to evaluate how the performance of current interactive RL algorithm varies within different type of user. And that's it. Thank you. And let me know if you have any questions.
Yes, thank you very much. Are there any questions? If there is a question, I just have to find the hand that is raised. Sorry, it's Kim.
Yeah.
Please, Kim.
Hello, Kim.
Hi. Thanks a lot for your talk. This is actually very similar to research we're doing right now at the VU Amsterdam. So I have lots of questions, but I guess my main one is you mentioned that there was a predictive power or some form of correlation between personal attributes such as personality and the teaching styles. Is that something that you were able to show empirically, or is it more of a hypothesis?
I guess it's some existing literature found people, for example, the personality of the people could influence their teaching styles. So we're trying to use some of the existing literature to actually based on that existing literature to build our work.
Right. The reason why I'm asking is because there was another work at the main track of the HRI conference from Matthew Gumbel's lab, and they had a similar intuition. And it turns out that because of the very low level nature of these tasks, that these differences in teaching strategies based on personal attributes don't really carry over. Because training an agent and teaching a human high-level task are very different things. So I'd be curious to see if you get some evidence on these domains eventually.
Yeah, I'm also very looking forward to see the result, because we haven't done a lot of user study and experiment, the COVID stuff, and then so we'll really look forward to see the result, and hopefully we can find very useful result and share it to you guys.
Cool. Thanks. Good luck.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, indeed. Good luck with that. I'm also quite curious to see what will come of it. Frank has a question, please.
Hi. Yeah. Thanks for the talk. Very interesting. One thing I wanted to, I was interested in the interface that you present, and something that is kind of a known issue in
this one.
Yeah, kind of interactive reinforcement learning is that, humans tend to have a poor understanding of what reward actually means kind of algorithmically for reinforcement learning. And do you feel that this kind of interface kind of assists with that transparency, or if not, do you have any other ideas to kind of address that in dealing with how people give rewards, which may not, be exactly the way that you would these models would expect?
I feel like my way to my thinking to develop this kind of like interface, like I don't expect like the user to know like exact reward value they want to give to the agent. They just need to visualize how a oracle or like show the feedback to the agent, and to think, oh, when I give feedback to an agent, will I like what will I do? And then it's more like I don't really care about the exact reward, but I care about the way they give reward. And it's like more like to show them the style, how they give them to the learning agent. And I feel like your problem is like more like how to explain or how to interpret the way like people give feedback. Is that?
Yeah, I guess I just, so I guess you're sort of saying that hopefully with this type of interface, you can kind of show people maybe how to give feedback, or what the effects of their feedback are, more transparently. Is that correct? Or
kind of, because I'm just like want them to see, oh, this kind of behavior is what they want to show. But yeah, I don't want to let themselves to explain, oh, I want to give this robot like +1 reward because blah, blah, blah. I don't think sometimes people can correctly or accurately explain that.
Yeah, that's very difficult. Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you. Thanks.
All right. And Philip, you're only allowed to ask a question if it's a really short question, because we're also a little bit behind schedule.
So we were talking about coding and implementation of the models, understanding how they look like in the beginning. And when thinking about personas, I was thinking about my first discussion about the term modeling. When the psychologist thought of a written text and I thought of a differential equation. And I would be interested how you represent the personas theoretically or in a model, let's say. I didn't get this, I think.
Like represent the persona in a model?
Yeah, so how is the model looking like? Is it verbal? Is it mathematical?
So persona, it's not mathematical, it's like more qualitative, like saying, and you can do probably also, I think the detailed item in each like categories in persona can be numerical or like categorical, because you know the age, the gender or something like that. You can use this to like do some multi-dimensional analysis with like your feedback attributes value collected from like participants. So to try to find whether there's some like connections or relationship between those like different variables, I guess.
Okay, I think that was short already. I could have asked it further on, but I'm fine with that for now. Thank you.
I think we also have to move on now, right? So we still have one question, Chuang, but maybe you can handle that in the chat. I think you've already posted in the chat even.
Yeah, I have posted there. You can see it. And my question is, how do you update your Oracle for better teacher, just like for a suitable reward in your traditional reinforcement learning? I mean, how do you update your teacher? You mean your teacher is in the simulation environment? So
your question is, how can I create a modified Oracle and then use it in like interactive neural learning? So basically, for each feedback attributes, we can define in a form of like a numerical or categorical form, and then we like make this to apply it to a perfect Oracle, because usually we need an Oracle to give feedback to a learning agent. And based on the perfect Oracle feedback behavior, and then we apply those like attributes to the perfect Oracle's behavior. And then we can output some like modified feedback and give it to the learning agent. That's how we did.
Yeah, okay. It's good. Thank you. It's a great presentation. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much for the talk and for the nice discussion afterwards. But I think we're really going to move on now to our next talk.